They told him he wasn't good enough. But true champions are forged in the dark.
Everyone laughed when they saw his name on the draft list. Coaches said he was too weak. Scouts called him a complete failure. But just a few years later, the same player would make MLB history and force those same teams to regret the biggest mistake of their lives. Who was this forgotten player? And how did he shock the entire baseball world? Stay until the end, because this true story only gets more unbelievable. Have you ever been told that you weren't good enough? That your dream was impossible? Imagine hearing those words over and over again, not from strangers, but from professional baseball scouts. Every time this young player stepped onto a field, someone found another reason to doubt him. Too small, too slow, not enough power, no future. While other young athletes celebrated getting drafted, he walked home carrying nothing except disappointment. Friends slowly stopped believing in him. Even people close to him quietly suggested, maybe baseball just isn't for you. For many people, that would have been the end. Most dreams die right there, not because of failure, but because people stop believing in themselves. But this young player made a decision that would completely change baseball history. Instead of proving everyone wrong with words, he disappeared. No interviews, no excuses, no complaints. He simply went back to work. Every single morning before sunrise, he was already training. When everyone else finished practice, his practice had only just begun. Swing after swing, throw after throw, day after day, week after week, month after month. There were no cameras, no social media posts. Nobody was watching. Nobody cared. He wasn't chasing attention. He was chasing something much bigger: respect. Because deep inside, he believed something incredible. He believed that talent could be beaten by obsession. While others rested, he trained. While others celebrated victories, he studied their weaknesses. He watched hundreds of hours of baseball footage. He memorized pitchers. He analyzed hitters. He learned things that nobody expected. Slowly, without anyone noticing, he was changing. His body became stronger. His swing became faster. His confidence became unbreakable. But the baseball world still ignored him. Scouts continued saying, "He'll never make it." Newspaper writers barely mentioned his name. Even baseball fans had no idea that one of the greatest comeback stories in sports history was quietly being written. Then, everything changed. One opportunity appeared. Just one. It wasn't a perfect opportunity. It wasn't even a guaranteed chance. It was simply a door left slightly open. Most people would have been afraid. After years of rejection, confidence usually disappears. But not him. Because while everyone else thought he had been losing, he had actually been preparing for the moment that nobody else believed would ever come. And when that moment finally arrived, the entire stadium would witness something nobody expected. One swing would silence thousands. One game would change an entire career. One unforgettable performance would force every scout, every coach, every critic to ask themselves one painful question: how did we miss this player? But the most shocking part of the story hadn't even happened yet, because what he was about to do next wouldn't just shock one team, it would shock all of Major League Baseball. The opportunity finally arrived. It wasn't the championship. It wasn't a packed stadium. And it wasn't a game that anyone expected to remember. To most people, it was just another ordinary baseball game. But for him, it was the moment he had spent years preparing for. As he walked toward the batter's box, the crowd barely noticed his name. The opposing pitcher smiled. The catcher whispered, "Easy out." Even the commentators questioned why he had been given a chance. No one expected history. The first pitch, a blazing fastball. Strike one. The crowd stayed quiet. The second pitch, even faster. He barely touched it. Strike two. Now, everyone thought the story was over. The cameras caught fans shaking their heads. Some people were already looking away. This unknown player was about to fail again. But something was different. Instead of looking nervous, He smiled, not because he was winning, but because he had been waiting for this exact situation. Thousands of times during lonely practice, he imagined standing here. 2 strikes. One last chance. Pressure everywhere. This wasn't fear anymore. This was home. The pitcher took a deep breath. He threw his hardest pitch of the night. The ball exploded toward home plate. For one split second, time seemed to stop. Then, crack. The sound echoed across the entire stadium. Not an ordinary hit. A perfect hit. The baseball launched higher, farther, and faster than anyone expected. Players froze. The pitcher slowly turned around. Outfielders sprinted toward the wall. The crowd stood to their feet. Silence. Then complete chaos. Home run. The stadium exploded. Commentators screamed. Fans couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. One swing had completely changed the game. But surprisingly, that wasn't the biggest moment. Because after that home run, something even stranger happened. Pitchers stopped throwing easy strikes. Every team suddenly started studying him. Reporters wanted interviews. Fans searched his name online. The same scouts who once rejected him were suddenly sitting behind home plate, watching every move. Within weeks, he wasn't just another rookie anymore. He had become the player everyone feared. Opposing managers changed their defensive strategies. Pitchers avoided throwing inside. Even veteran superstars admitted, "This kid is different." Game after game, he kept proving that the first home run wasn't luck. His batting average climbed. His confidence grew. His highlights spread across television, social media, and sports headlines around the world. Children copied his batting stance. Young players watched his videos. His jersey started selling everywhere. The player nobody wanted had suddenly become one of baseball's biggest attractions. But success always creates new enemies. The more famous he became, the greater the pressure became. Fans expected greatness every single night. Media searched for weaknesses. Critics waited for one bad game. Everyone asked the same question: can he keep doing this? Many believed his incredible run would soon come to an end. And then, baseball delivered its toughest challenge. An injury. Not a small injury. A serious one. The kind that has ended countless careers. Doctors weren't sure how long recovery would take. Some experts quietly suggested he may never return the same. For the second time in his life, people stopped believing in him. But they had forgotten one thing. This wasn't the same young player who once accepted rejection. This was someone built by adversity. Someone who had already defeated impossible odds. And once again, he prepared to shock the baseball world.